I'm on a mission to make as many felt Christmas tree decorations as I can before the end of the year, so I thought I would take you through my process of making one of them. And today I'll be making Majora's Mask of the Legend of Zelda game of the same name. To make this, you're going to need a selection of felt, particularly in purple and magenta, and you're going to need some embroidery thread to colour match each of these. You also need a few other colours of embroidery thread, some regular thread of any colour, you're not going to see it, an embroidery needle and a regular sewing needle, some paper or card for making your templates, a pair of small sharp scissors, some paint, either acrylics or paint pens like I'm using, and a paintbrush, some ribbon of any colour of your choosing, and some stuffing. This is the design I'm going to be following. Each of the squares on this piece of paper is 1/2 centimetre, so you can make your own templates from this. Feel free to pause here for as long as you need. First, you're going to need to cut out all of your felt. Now do this very carefully. You want to make these shapes as accurate as possible, particularly this magenta one. It's very fiddly, so take some time on this stage. And you should have these pieces of felt. So the first thing we're going to do is protect our surface and get the paint onto these spikes. You're going to put a little bit of paint on each one and then take a bit of water on a paintbrush just to blend it out so you get a more even gradient. And then hang these out to dry. This will take a while, so let's move on. Next, you're going to need to cut out some very thin 1/2 centimetre thick strips of the green, yellow and red felt and start rolling them as tightly as you can, starting with the green. Put a stitch through every 1 or 2 rolls that you do, just to keep it together and neat. This is very fiddly, so take your time with it. Once you're finished with the green, add on the yellow and then the red. And then you have a couple of eyes. Sew these on with 2 strands of black embroidery thread in a nice little cross to make the pupils of the eyes. Then you're going to use your other colours of thread to sew the details onto the mask. One quick thing to note here, I'm using a quite cheap purple felt which is less dense than the other felts. This makes the stitching not look quite as neat as the felt tends to move quite a bit as it's compacted by the stitching. Once your spikes are finally dried, you'll notice that they're pretty stiff. That's to be expected, they're full of paint. So what you're going to do now is position them around the back piece of felt and stitch them on with a small X in the colour matching purple embroidery thread. Now take your ribbon and sew that on similarly with a little X onto the back piece. And then you're going to sew the front and the back together. Fill it up with a little bit of stuffing and there you go, you've got a Majora's Mask. This particular video was inspired by the Film Prompt Society prompt, The Masks We Wear. There'll be a link to Film Prompt Society's channel and the playlist of other videos for this prompt. Thanks so much for watching, and if you do follow this tutorial, do send me a picture of it on Twitter or any other social media. Instagram, I don't know, I'm on all these things. I'm joolzzenda everywhere.